The ruins of Kaer Morhen huddled against the stone precipices, the partially demolished trapezium of the defensive wall, the remains of the Barbican Gate, the thick, blunt column of the donjon. Nestled in the far northeast of the Northern Kingdoms, where the land of Cadwyn meets the peaks of the Blue Mountains, there is believed to be an ancient fortress. Scarce few have seen the place with their own eyes, as its mountainous location makes it nigh impossible to reach. Though some have tried and succeeded, and once upon a time, this fortress was the hub for the training and controlled mutations that created the mortals we know as witches. In modern times, however, it is a shell of the stronghold it once was, brought to the brink of total destruction by superstitious fanatics, hell-bent on killing all of the unnatural abominations within. Those inhuman monsters with their cat-like eyes and seemingly non-existent emotional capability were different and therefore deserved death. The fanatics came with mages to bombard the keep walls with powerful sorceries, hoping to vanquish the witches once and for all. Since the siege, the once great fortress houses only a few witches. Despite this, the keep and the surrounding valley, with its beautiful landscapes and picturesque lake, remain some of the most glorious sights in all of the Witcher universe. Hey guys, my name is Drew and welcome back to my series on the lore and mythology of the Witcher universe. In this video, I'm going to be delving deeper into the place the Witchers call home, providing some insight into its significance, what went on within its walls, and what made it the ultimate refuge for the mutated monster hunters. The name Kaer Morhen derives from the Elder Speech, the language used by the Aen Cedar elves long before the conjunction of the spheres. In their language, the place is called Kaer Morhen. Kaer with a C meaning fortress, castle or keep, Muir meaning the sea, and Hen meaning old. Put it all together and we have the Old Sea Keep. The spelling and pronunciation we see in the common speech is likely a bastardization tailored to the typical human lacking the elven elegance. The Elder Speech is very reminiscent of the Celtic languages of Wales, Scotland and Ireland, and Celtic influences are seen throughout elven culture in the Witcher universe. So it's safe to say that that was part of Andrzej Sapkowski's inspiration. Anyway, I digress. High in the mountains, Kaer Morhen is perfectly located for defensive purposes, with high curtain walls perched atop natural rock formations, tactically placed battlements overlooking a narrow drawbridge and heavy portcullis, and a keep high above on the mountain face, sitting in relative safety. From the balconies of the keep, one can oversee everything happening down below in the baileys and the valley beyond. Within the fortress, there are vast halls for dining and socializing, a courtyard for sparring, kitchens, a library, an armory, and down in the basement a witch's laboratory and a circle of elements. I'll be talking about the role of the laboratory soon and its importance in the production of new witches, but for those unaware, a circle of elements is similar to what we know as a place of power. A circle of elements is distinguishable by the fact that they allow witches to learn new signs. Supposedly, the sorcery emanating from these spots is significant enough to warrant the building of monuments. Sadly, Kaer Morhen is a shell of what it once was. Around the same time that Geralt fell victim to his amnesia, the fortress fell to a horde of angry commoners, spiteful fanatics, and conniving mages. Before the siege, 23 witches and 40 students resided in Kaer Morhen. Now it is the home to 4, Vesemir, Geralt, Eskel and Lambert. So we have this glorious stronghold high in the northeastern mountains, its beauty only rivaled by its age. But let's get into more detail about its true purpose. Despite the fresh mountain air and the hypnotizing tranquility of vibrant pastures swaying to and fro with the wind, the witches don't visit Kaer Morhen Valley to lie in fields of celandine and white myrtle. No, a stay at the old keep is a bittersweet experience for these contract killers, and if you're wondering why such a breathtaking location isn't a bustling tourist destination for rich nobles in dire need of a break from lining their pockets, you need only look to the surrounding landscape. The fortress is so difficult to reach in more ways than one. If you have the strength and endurance to navigate the unsteady mountain tracks up into an altitude where your breath feels shallow and unsatisfying, then that's only half the battle. On top of the climb, you'll be faced with all manner of deadly creatures. Through the trees somehow standing tall on the slopes, you may be happened upon by wolves, basilisks, giant centipedes, wyverns, or even archer spores, which take root in the soil and wait for innocent passers-by before impaling them with tentacle-like branches. The witches who call Kaer Morhen home and undergo some of the cruelest trials ever conceived call the journey up to Kaer Morhen the killer, and from their kind, that's quite an endearing compliment. Once you successfully survive the many perils waiting anxiously to take your life, you then have to ensure you find the witch's trail, which is believed to be very easy to miss. This trail encircles the keep and must be followed to reach the stronghold. Now, back when Kaer Morhen wasn't a crumbling ruin and many witches lived there was a grueling process all witches were expected to undergo. After arriving at the Old Sea Keep as children, the witches in training would first be subjected to the choice. This part is supposedly voluntary, and to many this is considered the hardest part of the entire process. The choice involves a severe dietary change, switching to a diet of mushrooms, mosses and herbs. The young witches would then have to undertake the beginnings of their grueling physical training while nauseous from what feels like malnourishment. This lifestyle change was enough to kill off huge numbers of potential witches, succumbing to liver failure, heart failure and even mania. The aggressive tendencies spurned by the trial could either be channeled in combat training or left to deteriorate the minds of the subjects. All of this took place within the witches' laboratory within Kaer Morhen. The trainees lucky enough to survive under this new dietary regime were only at the beginning. Then came the trial of the grasses, in which young witcher apprentices were required to consume a special alchemical concoction. It is believed only 3 in 10 survived this trial. After ingesting the mixture of forktail spinal fluid, manticore poison, albino bruxa tongue, bryonia, ribleaf and mandrake root, some died in agony, while others emerged on the other side with impossibly fast reflexes, the cat-like eyes and various other enhancements. The third and final trial was called the Trial of Dreams, and while we do not know exactly what this entails, it is this trial that gives the witches their mutated bone marrow, hormones, night vision, and unfortunately, their infertility. It would be interesting to find out exactly what took place within the walls of Kaer Morhen during the Trial of the Dreams, but somehow it seems to be the part of the process that actually separates witches from humans, altering their hormonal state to the extent that they can no longer reproduce. Feel free to speculate in the comments, as I'd love to hear your thoughts. Either way, all of this took place within Kaer Morhen, and it's starting to make more sense why some skeptics would seek out the stronghold, hoping to cease whatever sorcery was going on inside. If you can divert your gaze from the supernatural rituals taking place within Kaer Morhen, you'll see a landscape as dangerous as it is stunning to behold. From the crystal blue waters of the Gwenlek River flowing along the valley floor, to the verdant green hills and snowy peaks gleaming an untainted white, all the way to the vast misty lake in the northern reaches. I highly recommend going for a stroll along the many trails sprouting from Kaer Morhen's main entrance, as there is much to see. Just make sure your silver blade is sharp and at the ready when you do. In the expanses neighbouring the keep, you'll mostly find yourself walking among rabbits and deer, but venture too high and you may be swooped upon by Arenia. These things are harpies, but way uglier. Yes, somehow that is possible. And even if you steer clear of the skies, the creatures below the depths will turn on you just as quickly. Drowned dead and water hags are rampant in the shallows, and neckers lurk in the tree line all around. But if you make your way down to the lake, prepare for an exquisite view. Down here, the foglets mimic lost children to lure unsuspecting saviors to their dooms. Stubborn rock trolls guard the path to the circle of elements, and old Speartip, a wizened cyclops, slumbers in his secluded cave. You can see from the landscape and the creatures inhabiting it that this valley was the perfect place for witches to train. The terrain is tough on the muscles, and almost every living thing around you is out for blood. Nowadays, the valley harbours a sense of solitude. When you wander through the region, you are truly alone, excluding the monsters of course, and you have to imagine that it can get quite lonely for the 4 witches who choose to return there for winter before setting out once again on the path. Throughout the story, we learn that Lambert, the sarcastic, quarrelsome witcher, actually owns a boat on the lake. In fact, it is the only functioning boat. The reason that this is significant is due to the presence of an unmarked location on the western shore of the lake. If you make your way to a small chunk of shoreline, you can see a canvas set up overlooking the landscape. Some theorize that this is an Easter egg, maybe a reference to Bob Ross, but regardless, in the universe, I like to believe this neat little detail subtly gives us an insight into a pastime of Lambert's, who is always so adamant about appearing tough. It seems plausible that the man who built his own boat on the lake may just sail out to an isolated spot to paint the horizon. That would give Geralt some new material when caught in a quipping contest with Lambert. For some reason, to me at least, it is this detail that really drives home the serenity of this region. Shunned from society, these surviving witches have one place they can retreat to, away from the vitriol spat at them by common folk. Painful memories exude from the walls of the keep, yet Kaer Morhen will always be their home. Kaer Morhen always stood out to me as one of the Witcher universe's most memorable locations, and I hope you enjoyed exploring it a little further with me in this video. This is a brand new channel, so if you've just stumbled across my Witcher series, firstly, thank you for tuning in, but secondly, hit subscribe if you want to stick around for future videos. I'd appreciate it a lot. Also, give the video a like if you think it deserved one. Thanks for watching everyone, I've been Drew, and I'll see you later.